Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. This is for anyone who owns a business. Maybe you lead a team. Maybe you're a C-suite executive. Maybe you're a CEO. Maybe you just have a small business, but you want to move it forward. Maybe you feel stuck in your business. You're not seeing the numbers, or you feel that your team is not on board, not aligned. For that, you need an executive leadership coach. I found one for you, and she's amazing. Internationally known author, speaker, and she helps businesses and individuals move it forward all the time. She's joining us today. She's got a great book, too. Angela Doyle is on the program. How are you?
Great. Thank you for inviting me, Steve. Nice to be here.
Great to have you here with us. And I'm curious, what are you hearing from people in business now? What are they dealing with? What is their mindset that they share with you?
I think they're having a lot of problems throughout the whole industry, various different industries, whether it's manufacturing or it's financial industries. One of the trends is that the transformations that they're going through, they're trying to be agile, they're trying to be lean at the same time from a financial perspective, and being able to keep the lights on. So growing the business as well as, maintaining the business is a really big challenge right now for any transformation or any organization that's going through a transformation.
When you say transformation, how would you define that, or give maybe some hypothetical examples of it?
So from a traditional mindset, it's usually like, a project, a various siloed type of organization. Each department has their own goals, their own organizational outcomes and strategies. And from an agile perspective or scaling agility across the organization, we're trying to connect the silos so that we don't have as many delays. We don't have delays in the handoffs. And we don't have delays in our delivery and our pipeline when it comes to technical teams, as well as the product and the business.
Sounds like a lot of this gets back to communication overall.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's communication as well as collaboration. It's that goal of taking the time to really be able to listen to one another, to understand what each other's pain points are, and work together as a team, as a partner, regardless of the department you're in, so that you can have agility across the organization, across the lines of business.
Can you give us an example of, and this is all confidential, and it can even be hypothetical, but I'd love if there was somebody you worked with that had a challenge, what you did, and then what the outcome was.
Sure. During COVID, there was a particular organization I worked with. I'm going to keep that confidential, but that organization was a Fortune 20, huge manufacturing, huge government and also commercial business that delivered a lot of manufacturing, like airplanes and various different parts and different vehicles. Okay, and so in that organization, the supply chain was very much had a lot of bottlenecks. They were delayed probably a year in delivery for their customers. Understanding where those bottlenecks are takes time. And it also takes the right people being in the right room to kind of identify where the value stream, and that's a developmental value stream, where that procurement value stream gaps are and where those bottlenecks are within from the beginning to the end of the delivery. And so what we did was we identified the value stream. We worked with all those particular departments from procurement all the way to delivery. And we understand where are the times, the lead time, the process times, the cycle times for each one, and how can we shorten that so that we can create more of a flow time. And we can deliver on time, and we can automate some of those processes.
So many people are, automate is fantastic. Then we get into AI, and a lot of people are uneasy with that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to just throw it to you, overall, broadly here. Your thoughts on AI?
So I think AI has a place. Just like, when we were back in the day when the internet started, everybody was worried about the internet, right? When it started. And that was a big thing. And now look how it's being used for good, as well as we have to be careful with the internet as well because of various different cybersecurity issues that might come out, emails that might be happening. So just like AI, it's a new thing. There is always good in this, but there also needs to be governance. There needs to be an understanding of the risk because of the data and the privacy laws that we have in place. So protecting people's data and also being able to have integrity along the way so that we have safety for our organizations, our departments, and also the people that we serve our customers and our consumers.
How does that make you feel, Angela, when you've worked with somebody and they come back and they say, you know, our numbers are up, or our team, it's all in sync now? You personally, what's that feel like?
Oh, it's awesome. It's like a shot in the arm. It's so awesome because that's really what you want. You want the light bulbs to come on. You want the collaboration, the synergy, the alignment. And that's when we can really create a lot of great, awesome products in a very short amount of time. It's amazing what can happen when we have all the people in the room, the right people, the business as well as the developers and the product, as well as the IT folks, to develop a product that can be consumed and needed for the customer.
You as a coach for business leaders or business owners, I'm sure there's different characteristics that go along with that in a healthy situation. Could you define some of those?
So you mean like business owners?
Yeah, when it
Healthy
comes to
perspective?
coaching. Yeah.
I think it's partnership. It's all about partnership. It's not about telling people what to do. It's about listening to what their needs are and understanding what the needs, taking the time to listen and not be so quick into solutionizing the problem. I think sometimes we are so quick in creating a solution, and that might not be the best solution. But so we need to kind of listen to what really the problem is. If we got a good problem statement, understanding the problem, then we can have all these different options of what the solution is and really create the best solution that might be out there.
Listening is so key. And I'm glad you said that because I feel like many of us don't, or we think we are, but we're not really listening to what our clients are saying, what our team is saying, what the financial people are saying. You know, we're already on to the next thing.
That's right.
And I get it. It's a crazy world. There's so much going on, but listening skills are paramount, right?
And marketing, being able to market the right product at the right time. If we're not listening to one another, we're going to miss the opportunity to market it at the right time and to the right individuals.
Yeah. Yeah. And the message that you're going to include with that marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone needs to be aligned and collaborating to be able to execute a wonderful product at the right time for the right customer and understand what that product is, what kind of needs that product is going to meet.
So I want to talk about your book in just a moment. Before we get there, who is your perfect coaching client? They're walking through the door right now. You're looking at them. How would you describe them and their background?
Well, I've had some amazing coaching clients. I've worked with New York and some of the hedge funds that are out there, the hedge fund clients and the CTOs. They've been fantastic. The collaboration, the partnership, the vulnerability. I think sometimes a leader is not always having the right answers or not always they don't always have those answers. And being able to be vulnerable as a leader, as well as allowing your teams to self-organize and have that autonomy to create is amazing. So I think I've had the opportunity to have in my past pretty amazing leaders that have believed in me, trusted me, and have been vulnerable as well as been open so that we could really create some great, amazing outcomes for the organization. So I think that's the big thing is partnership, not realizing that I don't have all the answers. I don't think any coach does when they come in. And I've worked with multiple industries. So it's not it's us having all the answers. It's both of us working together, synergize with the teams, with the organizations, with the VPs, with the C-suite.
I almost envision you as somebody who, you're a CSI investigator in the beginning. You have to figure out, what they're doing, how they're doing it. Maybe you've never worked with widgets before. You need to know that they make widgets and, why these widgets are different. But like you said, you don't necessarily have all the answers, but you have the spotlight. And you know where to put the spotlight on certain parts of the business so that the owner or the executive can see, oh, I didn't see that. Thank you for bringing that to light, literally.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a guide. We are, coaches are really guides. They're not necessarily in the game. So it's kind of like a football game, in the football games, we have great football right now. They're not the coaches in a football game. They're not playing the game. They practice. They teach them techniques and skills. They teach them understanding of and collaboration among the both players, no matter what the role is. But each player, no matter who the player is and no matter who the role is, they can make, they can score during a game. They are very agile. They're self-organizing, and they have the autonomy to do that. So at any point in an organization, as a team, whether it's product owners, product managers, or developers, or IT, or cybersecurity individuals, whoever it may be that's working, the worker bees, they have the ability and the autonomy to reach out to the people they need to reach out to get the answers. So instead of waiting,
What's the difference between a coach and a consultant? How would you define that?
So I think a consultant, a lot of times a consultant is given a certain amount of a statement of work or various tasks and details. And this is what we want you to do. And you are the one that's coming up with the answers. You're the one that's solutionizing. Where a coach partners, and they are not the ones that necessarily come up with the solutions, but they can help shine light and they can influence and they can ask questions. So they can get to the root cause, not the symptom. And a lot of times, when we look at this, we try to solutionize and we try to fix a symptom instead of a root cause. So what happens? We don't get an outcome that we want. And then we wonder 5 years from now or another year from now, why are we in the same place we're in today?
It almost seems like I compare this to, when you talk about root cause, many doctors, if you look at it in a medical comparison, many doctors don't look at the root cause. They just give you a pill for the symptom.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So if you look at that in the business world, the pill for the symptom could be, we bought a new piece of equipment that'll make things better. But it's just trying to fix what was going on in the beginning that was never uncovered, never detailed, And it could be the processes. It could be an employee. It could be some employees just not doing, what they're supposed to be doing. But then again, that also starts at the top where they need to know the expectations and all of that. Tell me about your book, The Dark Side of Agile Coaching.
Sure. And what you're talking about is technical debt.
What is it called? What is it called?
We call that technical debt. Technical debt is when we keep incurring debt because instead of updating like a system, that's an old system that's created and it's working for us, but it's a legacy system and it's maybe created with legacy code or legacy infrastructure. And so with AI coming out, a lot of that doesn't actually communicate together. And so if we're implementing an AI transformation, which is something that we do as well with Agile, and it works very well, but you have to actually update the infrastructure. You have to update some of the hardware. And if you don't, and you keep making patches and making code and making patches and making code, eventually that technical debt is going to come back to bite you.
Totally get it. And I had a conversation with somebody I've known almost 30 years, and he actually was my boss back in the day. And we're now working together we're launching a business, and he just left a business position after 7 years. And I looked at what he was doing, and I'll laser this down. I looked at what he was doing, and I said, well, what about this? Or what about that? How did you try this? He goes, I tried all of that. And one aspect that would have propelled the business substantially, the salespeople couldn't sell it. And it's on them. They were kind of old school and not adopting to today's technology. And he said, I can't do any more. I've done all I can do. I love the owner. I feel bad that I need to leave. I had to give my notice because he can't do any more. But it goes back to that staff not properly trained, and he can't do it. It's not his responsibility to take care of that aspect of it. So talk about what'd you call it again? Technical.
Well, I'm not sure if that's technical debt, but it could be. It could incur as technical debt. Technical debt is something technical that it's an old infrastructure, like an old Cobalt, machine that's running on old code, and it can't actually do Java, and it can't do all these different things that are happening in modernization. That's what a lot of companies are having right now. But it's also mindset. So if you got a mindset, and it's in the old mindset from the way they used to do it, the way the salespeople used to do it, and how we sell things. A perfect example of this is what I was telling my team to do is to watch Moneyball. You ever heard of Moneyball, the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it though.
It's a great movie,
Wow.
But it's not really about baseball. It's about how they changed baseball and how they changed the way they actually do and actually recruit players. And it's really changed the game forever. It's changed sports forever. And it's looking at the data. And there's a lot of data that's driven from, football players to recruitment to baseball. But it was about the Oakland A's and how they changed the way they did the game. And they changed the mindset. It's an awesome movie.
I gotta check it out because I'm recently getting back into movies. Your book, interesting title here, The Dark Side of Agile Coaching. Now, agile coaching sounds really positive. It sounds to me like you can pivot and move the way you need to get the job done. Dark side. What does that mean?
Well, that means when there's a lot of silos, there's a lot of struggle in order to move, and the teams can't move, and they get delays within the pipeline, the delivery pipeline, in order to deliver on time and deliver the right particular products, because there might be so many different layers of handoffs. There might be so many layers of people and communication, and they're not actually being able to communicate to the right people. And they're so far removed. The people that are doing the work are so far removed from the people that are wanting the work done. So therefore, all these different types of communication kind of gets stifled every time you have another person that delivers that communication. So it can create delays, and it can also create you or the teams actually working on the wrong thing and delivering the wrong product.
Now, and what does your book bring to light in that regard?
So it's about coaching. It's about coming back to the coaching mindset. And it's about being able, and it's challenging all coaches. It's not, it's not a bad thing. It's actually just a reflection, and it's helping coaches to go back to that mindset and the heart of real coaching, what it's all about, and have that courage to coach. It's not easy. Any transformation, it is not easy. You're talking about an organization that's been doing the things for a long time, the way they've used to do it. And now with AI and the various different things that are happening in the world, if we don't change, the problem is we could become a dinosaur, or we could become obsolete. And we've seen that. We've seen that in a lot of different companies that have become obsolete because they've been stuck in their ways, and they weren't able to modernize. They weren't able to keep up with our consumers and the demand of the market.
100%. And the example I gave of my friend that's leaving that company's not going to last. And he told me of another company that does similar, that's actually owned by a very famous author. Let's just say that.
Wow.
And he just shut the company down.
Wow.
Because they weren't sticking with technology, and he gave up on it. So it's They had silos, but the wrong silos, as you say. So interesting. How do we find it?
And that happened a lot with COVID, by the way. We had a lot of wonderful organizations, wonderful even restaurants that I loved and I love going to. And you can look at now, and they're no longer here because they weren't able to pivot. They didn't have a platform. They didn't have the infrastructure to be able to take orders or to do things remotely.
And you see it now, too. So many businesses are, in chapter, whether it's 11, 8, or whatever the situation is. And so many restaurants just going by the wayside. I know staffing is a challenge, but you got to find an answer and find a coach. The answer is there.
That's right.
Angela, how do we find you?
I am at initar.com. That's my website and our website. We have some really great enterprise coaches. And my book is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble called The Dark Side of Agile Coaching. It's for coaches. It's also for leaders. It actually supports and it promotes partnership, true partnership based on empathy, trust, and transparency.
Final question, INOATAR, initar.com, the name of your company. What's that mean?
It's 2 words. It's about the word innovation, and ATAR comes from avatar, a guide. So it's those words together, a guide to innovation.
Love the way you think. It's so
Thank
cool.
you.
And guess what? When you went to go find the URL for the .com, no problem because you made it up. That's great. Good stuff.
That's right.
Angela, wonderful having you on here. Love the insight, and looking forward next time we get a chance to get together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.